Lesson 21, decide if it works. So if you plug in 0 for x, 5 for y, let's see, we are looking for, is it less than, greater than, or equal to 12? So what do you get if you plug in those numbers? More than 12, less than 12, or equal to 12? Greater. How about if I do 6 and 0? Equal to. How about if I do -1 and -1? Less than. And -5 and 10. So 2 times -5 plus 3 times 10. That's going to be definitely more than 12. All right. These questions, the book wants you to just plug in points. I'll show you what that would look like, and then I'll show you how I would solve it. So give me numbers for x that are bigger than y. Give me a point where x is bigger than y.
What's y?
Or whatever you want it to be.
4.
4 and
2.
so 4 is bigger than 2. So 4, 2. So that should work. Give me another one. 8 and what? 8's bigger than 4.
2 and 1.
2 is bigger than 1.
6 and 3.
6 is bigger than 3.
0.
1 and 0.
10 and 5.
10 and 5. How about 4 and -2? Is 4 bigger than -2? Yeah. How about, is 2 bigger than -6?
Yeah.
Is 8 bigger than -10?
Yeah.
Okay, you can put all kinds of dots in there.
Which is it on the right side?
Now the question is, where are all the dots located? Here's what I would do. I would get used to solving these all for y, so I just switch the order. I like y being first. And now I'm going to graph this equation. Just change the sign to an equal sign. Where does x equal y at? Well, 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. It is right here. That is where they are equal. -1, -1, -2, -2, so on. So now the question is, where is y less than or equal to x? Well, you kind of showed it here. Anything that's going to be below it. Any number down there will be true. It would be impossible to list them all. We listed how many? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. We did 9 of them. So any line, any point below here will work. Other thing I want you to note, because it is equal, that means anything on this line also works. So if it has an equal sign, much like a number line would have a filled-in circle, this line is solid. If it wouldn't be, it would need to be a dotted line. That means anything on the line does not work. Okay, let's try this one. How do I solve that for y?
Divide by 2.
Divide by -2, and remember that flips your sign over. So here is what I'm actually going to graph. Once again, I'm going to start with this line, y equals 2. Where does y equal 2 at?
2, 2.
Is it going to be a vertical line or horizontal line? It's going to be a horizontal. Anytime you have y equals, it is a horizontal line. So that is going to be right here. Now back to our original here. Do you think I shade above it or below it?
Well, what if it's like the dots?
I'm shading. Which region? I don't want to find dots anymore.
Well, below it, it's not
Below
there.
it. That means anything down here will work.
Will? Oh, yeah.
Again, you can try it. Try a point down here. 0. Is 0 less than 2? Yeah. Try this point. That is down 10. Is negative 10 less than 2? Absolutely. And again, anything on that line would be included again as well. So here's the first one that we've done where it doesn't have an equal sign on it. Just make a little note. That means our line will be dotted here to start. Anything on the line will not be included. Let's solve that for x.
0.
Divide by 3, right? So there's what I'm going to be graphing. Once again, I'm going to put my line at 0. Where does x equals 0? Vertical line or horizontal?
Vertical.
Vertical line at x equals 0. So this should be a dotted line.
Why dotted? Why?
Because there's no equal sign under it. That means anything on the line is not included. Now there's no up or down on this one, but do you think I shade left or right of that?
You shade 1.
Why?
Because anything on the left is going to work.
It's less than, anything less than it. So anything over here will make it true. And again, you can try it. Obviously, negative 4 is less than 0. Negative 6 is less than 0, and so on. Okay, what do you notice about this one to start?
There's adding.
Both that are in there. X
Yep,
and Y.
there's an x and a y, so I could start plugging in points again, but we're not going to do that. Well, I notice that there's no line underneath it, so again, I'm going to make a little note that our line's going to be dotted. And I got to solve it for y. How do I solve that for y?
Subtract the X.
Subtract an x. So y is greater than negative x plus 10. So my line I'm going to draw. Let's see if you remember how to graph that. What's the last number mean? The y-intercept. So you put a dot up 10. What's the negative x mean?
Slope.
Your slope. That means down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1 as far as you want. That should be enough to draw my line. Remember you said it was dotted. Do the best you can with that. Now, do you think I shade above it or below it? Greater than? Above. So anything in this area will work. All right, there are 4 more examples here. They're all the same problem. Gives you a little hint of what the line will even look like. We just have to figure out where to shade. So let's solve this one for y. Let's solve this one for y.
Minus X.
Minus x. Let's see, plus 5. Now, I don't really care about negative x too much, or negative y. I want it to be positive y. So what do we got to do? Times negative 1, or flip every sign. It does the same thing. So here's what my graph will look like. Y is greater than x minus 5. Again, to graph that, y-intercept is negative 5, up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1, so on. But it tells you what the line will look like. They're all going to look like this. So they're all going to go through those 2 points. Dotted or solid? I shading above it or below it? That means anything up here will make it true. Again, if you want to check to see if you shaded correctly, the origin is always an easy one to check. Plug in 0 for x and y. You can even go back to the original. 0 minus 0 is 0. Is that less than 5? Yeah, so you know that should be included in my shaded area. So what's going to change on the next one?
It's not gonna be dotted?
Yeah, you solve it. It's going to look like the exact same thing. Except it has an equal sign, so it will not be dotted. So it is a solid line. Everything above it. What's going to change on the next one? Look at what's different between the first one we did and this one.
It's gonna be.
Yeah, it's going to be the exact same thing except the opposite sign. I started with less than, it became greater than. So if I started greater than, it's going to become less than. So still dotted line. Shading everything below. Again, I don't know if I did it right, Mr. Milbrandt. Well, check the origin. According to this, the origin should not work. 0 minus 0 is bigger than 5. The origin doesn't work, so you know you shaded correctly because you did not include the origin. This one, same thing. Solid line, shade below. So you can always check and see where that origin is at. See if you shaded correctly. Does not take long to check. Okay, last thing we're going to look at is the opposite. Now it gives us a graph. You write the equation. Well, when you have a vertical line, do you remember if that's y equals or x equals?
Y.
That is y equals. So I'm starting with y.
Y equals.
Greater than or less than?
Is greater than.
Greater than. Vertical line is x equals. All right, we just did one right here.
Then you tell us.
Because I wanted to see if you caught it. X. Vertical line is x. Greater than, is it equal to?
No,
No. And what number?
2.5.
I don't think
Three.
2.5.
Or 3. Yeah.
3, yeah, it's between 2 and 4. 3. You want to try the other 3?
Yes.
Horizontal line is y equals. Little hint, the last two there are the same equation, just shaded differently.
Is it always, wait, on those ones where it's like diagonal, would it always be y?
Say that again?
Like the ones that have diagonal, would it always be y is?
Yep.
It did. It's right, or is that my sign for?
Less
Wait, you said diagonal is y.
slope goes in front of the x and then the y intercepts at the end. Online work you can do or something. Pencils, whatever you need for it. All right, see how you did. What do you got for B? It's gotta be Y.
Less than -2.
Okay, make sure you have the equal sign with it, because it is a solid line.
Oh.
Question C. So it is a diagonal line, so we're gonna write an equation for our slope-intercept form. I know it's greater than. Equal sign underneath it?
No,
No, what's my slope?
just X.
Yeah, 1x goes up 2, right 2, up 2, right 2, 2 over 2, or 1 over 1. So you could write 1x, you could just write x. And what's our y-intercept? 0, so you could put plus 0, not really needed either. All right, so you could write all of that if you wanted to. Or you can just write it, y is greater than x. D is the exact same thing, except
Switch signs and
switch signs. It's now less than, and it's equal to.
I say we skip over.
Wait, could you go to B for a second?
Okay, yeah.
All right. Instead of doing the are you ready, I'm gonna give you one more. Do you want an equation and then you graph it? Or do you want me to graph it and you write the equation? Me graph it?
It gets super tricky. Are those going up by ones?
Yes.
Could you write the numbers so we can see? Your lines are a little confusing.
Come on.
Or look at about teacher's drawings.
Thank you.
Oh. Yep.
All right.
Was my sign though good?
Did you have less than?
No.
It's below.
But how would it, oh,
All right, I got it.
All right. So it's y. It is less than, shaded below, equal to?
No.
Nope. It's dotted. Slope.
-1/2.
Down 1, right 2, down 1, right 2, down 1, right 2.
you don't want that.
Rise over run. And we know it has to be negative as well because it's going downhill. Down 1, rise, right 2. That's how you get 1/2. Down 1, right 2, down 1, right 2, down 1, right 2. Y-intercept? 4. There's your equation. All right, we can skip the are you ready? There's a couple more examples in the summary there for you. First couple there, the book is just asking you to plug in points. Does it work? Yay or nay? C, you actually have to shade it. So solve for Y for C. Solve for Y. 2, select all. 3, again, we're plugging in points. 4, you have two options there. You can just write the equation for this just like you did on the example I gave you, or you can just solve it for Y again and then just figure out what the symbol is based on the graph. Five, multiple choice. 6, I'll let you graph B. I'll let you graph B. A is already set up for you to eliminate the letter D. 7, I think, is fine. Just explain why. Done a million of those, it feels like. 8, good. 9, what are we going to multiply 9 by? What are we going to multiply 9 by? First number that 2 and 3 go into. 6. Both sides times 6. The left side will cancel to 2 times it. How many times is 2 going to 6? So the right side will be 3 times everything. And then you should be able to solve that. I think you can handle the last 2 as well. So go ahead and get rolling on that.